Hi, welcome to the latest installment of Roy's Book Reviews. I'm Roy, and today I want to share my thoughts with you on the novel The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson. Now, I was kind of chomping at the bit to read this book. I have a thing for that I'm neither proud nor ashamed of for serial killer narratives. This interest primarily covers the category of true crime, whether it's a nonfiction book or documentary or a screen version featuring actors playing the parts of killer and victims and cops determined to break the case. I'm astounded by the levels of evil that mankind is capable of. Some of us close our eyes at the carnage, while others can't look away. I guess I'm in the second group. When skilled fiction writers decide to create a serial killer inspired by the real-life monsters who dwell among us, consider me intrigued. The fact that The Jigsaw Man, along with having a very cool title, also happens to be written by a black woman, raised my curiosity level another notch. If there are many other serial killer novels written by black women authors, I've somehow missed the memo. Having recently watched the Netflix series Dahmer and the movie The Good Nurse, both of which were excellent. The latter is about Charles Cullen, the killer nurse in my neck of the woods here in New Jersey. I was primed to read this Nadine Matheson novel. It seems that The Jigsaw Man is meant to be the first in a series of books featuring Inspector Angelica Henley. In general, I favor standalone books over titles from a series, in part because I don't want to feel that I need to read multiple books to get the whole story. But my number one reading rule is that I have no rules. If something about a story is intriguing to me, I'm willing to give it a shot. And as I said at the start, for some reason I am intrigued by serial killer narratives. Ultimately, unfortunately, I was underwhelmed by The Jigsaw Man. Despite the fact that it features not one but two dueling serial killers, one a copycat of the other, who is behind bars for his crimes. That is until he manages to escape in order to track down the copycat killer, who has greatly annoyed him rather than flattering him with imitation. And he also wants to mess with Angelica Henley some more after nearly killing her when she stopped his original murder spree. Angelica bears physical scars from the knife that Peter Olivier plunged into her stomach, and psychological scars from the ordeal. They combine to temporarily push her out of the police force, and upon her return to a special unit that specializes in tracking down the most heinous killers, she's immediately on the trail of an unknown killer who's leaving body parts from dismembered victims in multiple locations throughout London. Rather than finding one corpse at a time, law enforcement finds a leg here, an arm there, the head over there. It's grisly stuff for sure. But to be truly captivating, a book needs to do more than roll out a series of horrific murders. It needs to make me care about some of the characters, or at least one of them at minimum. It needs not only to make the readers curious about who done it, and how they done it, and why they done it, but to immerse you in a world that feels real. I've read a few crime novels that disappointed me with their endings, yet I still consider them to be excellent reads because the journey from premise to conclusion was well laid out. With The Jigsaw Man, I frequently found turns of events to be implausible. Why is this killer being treated like royalty by the prison guards? How can security around such a notorious criminal be so lax? Don't expect me to buy budget cuts as the explanation. How is this guy able to overwhelm everyone he encounters? Does nobody else know how to fight or use a weapon to defend themselves? Not even trained police officers? I know all of the police officers in London, in England, don't necessarily have guns, but seems at least a few of them should, especially when there's a serial killer or two serial killers about. As for the psychology behind character motivation, I found it less than compelling in The Jigsaw Man. Serial killers may kill for no better reasons than evil and envy and ego, but Inspector Henley will be the recurring character over however many books get published in the series. So she's the character who should feel layered with complexities and contradictions and nuanced with traits which make us empathize and sympathize with her. Perhaps she will grow on me if I give her several books to win me over. I won't rule that out. But it's also possible that this will be the only Nadine Matheson book I'll ever read. Some authors get just one shot to win me over. I see from reviews online that I read that plenty others like The Jigsaw Man considerably more than I did. You may be one of those people yourself. I won't tell you to steer clear of it. Every book isn't for every reader, and that's part of the fascination of literature, of reading, of reviewing, is that everyone has their own particular cups of tea, and what is not for me may be perfect for you, and vice versa. That is about all I have to say about The Jigsaw Man. It is a relatively well-written book, but ultimately I found it to be a fail because I just did not find myself caring enough about the inspector or her family situation, which is a bit of a mess. She has a husband who does not approve of her being a police officer and dealing with dangerous criminals, killers. So you wonder how they managed to get married and have a child and last for any bit of time in the first place, since obviously she is dedicated to her job. So he comes across as very whiny. She, on the other hand, rather than being understanding of the fact that he just, cares primarily about her safety and the safety of their child, she's like, you know what, I think I will, sleep with a coworker, which then, of course, makes it pretty understandable that her husband is paranoid about the fact that she went back to work because she has the hots for a coworker. It's not paranoia if it's based on, true fears. So, like I said, all in all, I was not overwhelmed by this book, but I did read it pretty quickly. It is pretty interesting and gory stuff, and if you like police procedurals, this may be the book for you, or you may want to go back to another one of my videos here, Roy Book Reviews, where I discuss a number of police procedurals, crime novels that I enjoyed a good bit more than this one. So until next time, happy reading.